Now, as Rod said, welcome, Minister. I know you're having a very busy day. And so I thought I would just summarise a little of what has happened today and for the benefit of all of us. And each of you will have many points to be taking away from today, and certainly GIWA, and in particular the Pulse Council, will review the major messages that have come from today, and it will catalyse substantial efforts that will occur in various ways. But what has been discussed today is clear that pulses, whether they be lupins or faba beans or lentils or peas or others, have many advantages in a broad, resilient and robust farming system. And we have received wonderful data, such as shown by John Kierkegaard and his colleagues, showing how they can be profitable and are profitable within the current farming systems that operate in southern Australia. We've seen examples and heard of profitability of these systems. We've no doubt that there are tangible and intangible, there are quantifiable and difficult to quantify benefits of pulses in a farming system. We've heard statements such as the one that growing lupin crops by Rod Birch adds $141 per hectare in terms of legume fixed nitrogen. There are obviously tangible disease benefits. All of those are positives. We've also heard that there is nationally and in Western Australia in particular very low adoption of pulses. In Western Australia there is a substantial lupin crop, but it's much less than it used to be, and adoption of other pulses is very low. And one point I would make, Peter, is that while you would have the numbers, the adoption of non-lupin pulses is proportionally much higher in the other southern Australian states, and yet many of the constraints and benefits prevail across the country. So that's one thing for us to consider. Why is it that in low rainfall, sandy soil areas of South Australia where I lived and worked are legumes more adopted than they are in Western Australia? So that's something for us to consider. We've also, I think, been inspired, all of us, by the efforts of two startups based here in Western Australia, the Lupin Company and Wide Open Agriculture, who have pointed out to us and are having a go at the human consumption of lupins and, of course, plant proteins in general. They are showing us the way. They're showing that, of course, with the great increase in the importance of plant proteins globally, that there are real opportunities for Western Australia. We've also heard, although I don't think we spent much time on the decarbonisation benefits that occur. The Haber-Bosch process for fixing nitrogen is extremely energy intensive, and legume fixed nitrogen is much lower and has very substantial decarbonisation benefits, and we know that that is going to become important as the world decarbonises, which indeed it must do. So there are compelling reasons that we have heard today why legumes, pulses, should be a much greater proportion of our farming systems. There are, however, formidable challenges if we are to profitably increase, and notice I used that word profitable because, as Phil and others have said, without profitability farmers will not grow them, and on my small farmland I found some of that myself with faba beans and lupins. And so there are many challenges to be overcome, and as has been pointed out today, quite a bit of those exist in the marketing area, whether that's at the global level in terms of plant proteins and human food, of lupins as human food, etc. And one thing I would add to that, from my own experience, is that we need a greater percent of resources allocated for communication. Much of the data we heard today could be very effectively communicated by professional communicators, but that will require substantial resource to do it properly. We'll take away some of those things for the Pulse Council, Peter. All of the presentations that have been given today will be on the GIWA website, and I am personally resolved to look closely at those again, starting with your overview of global issues, Kadambot Sadiq. So I hope that the comments that I have made are in general a summary of that which we have been exposed to today. No doubt I have missed some important points, but you will have recorded them, and it will be with the presentations for us to go through. I hope, Minister, that those comments give you a little idea of what we have spent the day on today. Minister, the final job for me is to introduce you. What we've done all day long, being short of time, has not had lengthy biographies of any of the individuals, but of course we're very delighted that in a very busy day, which is not over for you, that you've been able to put time for us. The Honorary Alana McTiernan is the Minister for Regional Development, for Agriculture and Food, and just to spice things up, the looming appearance of a very important hydrogen industry. Please welcome the Minister.